8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, T-minus 5 hours and 15 minutes and counting here at the Kennedy Space Center, getting an update from the LHY team. They're currently discussing some problem solving. They have their liquid hydrogen line in manual fill after a leak developed an hour 15 ago in the 8-inch QD line that supplies the liquid hydrogen. It's just on the opposite side of that checkerboard target on the core stage. Engineers are discussing plans to raise that level to fast fill. I'll have more on that in a second. Stand by. T-minus 4 hours and 30 minutes and counting. The hydrogen team has completed the pressurization of the line, and now they are about to begin manually flowing liquid hydrogen through that line again, slowly, to check to see if they were able to get the quick disconnect that's on the other side of the rocket, where all of the lines, the propellant lines come into the rocket to fill it with liquid oxygen and hydrogen. They're going to start that flow and see if the troubleshooting plan worked. This is the second plan that's been tried. The first one was they let it warm up for a half hour and then flowed propellant back through it to see if that would get it to go. Stand by. Propellant is now flowing. Liquid hydrogen propellant is now flowing through the troubled line with the leak. It's 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time here at the Kennedy Space Center and Launch Complex 39B. The Space Launch System and Orion spacecraft on the pad have an update about the troubleshooting plan. It did not work. The second troubleshooting plan to seal a hydrogen leak at an 8-inch line that feeds the propellant into the rocket. The troubleshooting effort, as reported by the hydrogen team, they said they started slowly bringing liquid into the tank, and gradually, as they started to raise that pressure, they saw the leak detector go up above 4%. So they've backed it off a little bit, and now are going to look for another plan to try and get this leak to seal. Engineers now headed over to the anomaly loop. It's a channel where the engineers, the launch engineers and Boeing engineers, chief engineer, will all be discussing a next plan, a plan C. They've been in some preliminary discussions about it, so they've already kind of talked it a bit, but now they're discussing it now, and we'll tune in and find out more. Again, just to recap, a little more than 2 hours ago, a leak developed in the supply side, the 8-inch line, liquid hydrogen line, while attempting to slow fill, transfer from slow fill to fast fill, to load hydrogen into this rocket. And we've been going through a number of troubleshooting steps. The first was letting the connection warm up for 30 minutes and then manually starting back a slow fill. The second troubleshooting was pressurizing the line with helium to try to get it to reseat. Neither troubleshooting effort was successful. And so now we're awaiting next steps. This is Artemis Launch Control. Quick update on the situation out here, on the troubleshooting that the launch team is currently in the midst of to try to get this leak to seal. They have completed the warm-up and are now standing by to manually resume hydrogen flow through the line where they have seen the hydrogen leak. At the same time, the launch team that's managing the upper stage is going to start doing their purge sequences for the ICPS, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. This is at the top of the rocket. They purge out those volumes in there and purge out the lines with nitrogen over on the liquid oxygen side and helium on the liquid hydrogen side. Purge out those lines. This is they're going to do this so that they can catch up on the timeline, which has fallen behind due to the liquid hydrogen leak. So the team doing what it can to preserve this launch window, and then we're also monitoring this troubleshooting as well. We're at T-minus 3 hours, 34 minutes and counting. This is Artemis Launch Control. And one more update just came in. The core stage is now officially in replenish. The core stage is now officially in replenish for the liquid oxygen tank. And you can see that venting from this shot right here and from this shot, fully venting out of the core stage at the top. Liquid oxygen is good to go in replenish. Still working troubleshooting over on the hydrogen side, which is currently sitting around 9% full. Again, the team getting ready to manually start flow. LH2 has resumed flow slowly into the tank. Engineers opening that valve manually to allow that liquid hydrogen to flow into the tank. Again, checking to see if the latest troubleshooting, which was also the first troubleshooting plan, but trying it a second time to see if that's going to result in reseating a bullnose connection on an 8-inch hydrogen line into a seal that currently has a hydrogen leak. The liquid hydrogen team keeping the test director informed of all updates, and we are passing them along to you in real time. This is Artemis Launch Control. An update on the troubleshooting. The second attempt at a warm-up of the connection with the hydrogen line did not work. Again, the second attempt to warm up that connection for a half hour and then hit it with cryos in order to get the bullnose connector to reseat in the seal did not work. LHY, the liquid hydrogen team, reporting to the NASA test director that as soon as they resumed flow, when they added any pressure at all, they saw the leak return. So that's the third troubleshooting attempt, two of them the same, the first and the third. Team now is discussing next steps. This is Artemis Launch Control. This is Artemis Launch Control. Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson addressing her team just a few minutes ago. Says she has received their no-go recommendation but wants to hold off. Some additional thoughts and conversations are being developed about the situation and where the rocket stands, and said she will revisit it momentarily. Currently, we're in acceptable condition to hold. The launch team has the liquid oxygen in a stop flow configuration, safe at this time, and just awaiting a final a decision from the launch director at this time. This is Artemis Launch Control. This is Artemis Launch Control. Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson just called a scrub for the launch attempt today, the second launch attempt. Again, Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson calling a scrub for the day here at the Kennedy Space Center Launch Complex 39B. The team now going into the cutoff procedure after being unable to resolve a hydrogen leak. The vehicle is safe. NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding now putting the team into a configuration to drain the propellants from the tank. Liquid oxygen reached a 100% state, and so the priority will be given to draining that tank. And currently they are underway. Again, we have a scrub for the day, a cutoff of the launch attempt of Artemis 1. We're working on a post-scrub interview, so please stand by for that. This is Artemis Launch Control.